A boys and girls weather report for September 2nd, 2021.
September 2nd. It's a whole new month.
Wow.
You know, it took me 3/4 of August to change from July to August on my wall calendar. And now it's probably going to be, almost October before I remember to change it to September.
How could the days change like that if there was no God? I mean, like,
Right.
and you notice that they don't just randomly change, like from like the 15th and then the 7th. It goes from 1 to 2 to 3. How does that happen? That's miraculous.
That kind of makes me want to become a theist now.
Yeah, it's a miracle.
One simple thing. Nobody ever pointed that out to me.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You got to hear it first.
What's his face? Bill O'Reilly. But he kept talking about tides instead of the calendar.
Tides?
Yeah, tides. Tides go in, tides go out. Never a miscommunication.
Therefore, God?
Yep, that was his argument to Neil deGrasse Tyson. You don't remember that?
No, fortunately.
It was on the news. Well, I'll say on the news. It was on whoever would parody or make fun of Bill O'Reilly. It was on their broadcasts.
Yep.
I have this beneficent, wonderful beneficial dementia where some things like that I will just forget that I ever heard it. Like some really bad arguments, I'll just wipe them out of my mind. You know, as if I never heard the bad argument. Isn't that wonderful?
That is wonderful. But first, we need to deal with this question just in from our storm chaser, Icarus. He says, is it mandatory to talk about the New York flood? My question to you, Icarus, is there a New York flood?
Yeah.
I haven't heard a thing about it.
Wait a minute, is New York still a thing?
Yeah, I think they may have gotten, well, that hurricane come up through the the east. So I think New York did get a lot of rain.
Did it actually flood Manhattan or something? Or
I think he's talking about New York State, but it kind of, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Icarus ought to come in and tell us about it.
Yeah, all up the East Coast, there's just all kind of devastation, but we don't talk about that kind of weather usually.
Well, I'm not going to doubt Icarus because he is one of our most faithful and true storm chasers. Apparently, New York was replaced by a flood.
Great.
I know. It's like, wow, this climate change has some silver linings.
Yeah. Now they can make SeaWorld out of it or something. Get some fucking dolphins doing tricks there, instead of the usual New York bullshit. Tides go in, tides go out. Nobody can explain it.
No, never a miscommunication. How do you explain that?
Yeah. So anyway, so Martin brought us a video yesterday on the supernatural, and with Aaron Ra, admitting that he had a supernatural event in his life that was.
There was something he couldn't explain. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So first thing I did is went and linked the original Great Debate Community talk where Aaron Ra was talking about that. And the reason Aaron Ra was talking about it is because he contacted that girl who made those predictions later on in life. Yeah. And she apparently didn't remember any of it.
Oh.
And other people mentioned on that same stream that they had the same effect, that they saw something supernatural. Like a big story when I was a kid is that my older brothers and sisters were all out at Shorty Hill's place during one of the drunken parties our parents had, and they were up in the hay barn, and Abraham Lincoln walked into or somebody that looked like Abe walked into the hayloft and disappeared, an apparition. And I asked my older brothers and sisters and the Hill family's offspring if they remembered it, and nobody remembered it but me. And Yeah. And so I got a feeling that manufactured memories about the supernatural are like prevalent, really prevalent. Now, my son suggested it could be the opposite. It could be that if you see something supernatural, almost everybody forgets it automatically. That you won't.
It's kind of weird,
Yeah,
counterintuitive, but
yeah,
it could be
yeah.
maybe.
Because when I run into something that I couldn't explain, I remembered it, for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's like, I really got to remember. But I did
There could be
notice.
a segment of the population that constructs an alternate memory.
Yeah.
Because they don't. It goes so much against what they think reality is.
Yeah. So then the other part of that stream, let's see if I can pull it up. I don't know if I need to play any of it, but where is it here? Scientific evidence for the soul. He's got a guy on there, and they kind of mention him. The doctor that's talking about this. What in the fuck is wrong with YouTube? Come on, you can do
Chrome. Chrome has been.
Yeah, it's been doing
kind of weird like that.
Weird stuff.
Okay, now they've done some rearranging of their interface. Like I've noticed now that like the pinned comment, the number one comment is taking up a little bit smaller space, and then they throw some other little features in and around. I don't know if that's due to like what number of subscribers you have, you get a different experience or what.
Yeah, so I think I found this guy.
Okay.
His name is Stanley Krippner. I think he mentions his name here, and I'm not sure. And then I went out and I did a search for Stanley Krippner, and I found this interview. But put in your mind what you just saw. What do you look like? Even though I just took it down. Share screen. Where are we at? Scientific evidence for the soul. Let's see. So we have. I got to switch so I can find the damn thing. The dang thing. I can't find it. Comes a time. Interviewed him. And I think that guy in the upper right is the same guy. So he's aged a little bit.
Looks like it.
Yeah, and he was talking about spirituality and ayahuasca and psychedelics, and so he's one of those guys. But I'm not sure if that is the same guy, but it could be. So
does he not give the name down in the description?
Well, let's see, in Germania or Martin stream. Well, I confused Martin with Germania because Germania is trying to snipe all my users right now.
He ended, and several guys are coming over here. So
only because I sent my boys over there and
straighten them right out, right? Yep.
Straighten them out, yeah. Yep. So they were probably pounding on the door, and he's like, "Oh shit," No, he doesn't mention the name here, but anyway, I think it's the same guy. I think his name is Dr. Stanley Krippner. So I got a lot of questions about that experience. So what happened is he had this woman who claimed she could do out-of-body experiences, and 2 nights she claimed she had an out-of-body experience, and and he put a little number, a random number, on a piece of paper and put it high up so she couldn't, no way she could have seen it. And then she told him in the morning, she'd tell him, the number. And for the first 2 days, she said, well, I wasn't in that part of the room and I couldn't see it or whatever. But on the 3rd day, she came up with the exact number. It was a 5-digit number. So, and he was, absolutely impressed with that. But then he said, but she was discharged from the hospital apparently, so he couldn't repeat the experiment. And the skeptic in me is saying, yeah, really?
Yeah.
Really? This really happened? It's like, okay, I don't know. It's 1 out of 100,000 that she would have guessed the number, But anyway, that just shoots the shit out of Martin's little evidence, scientific evidence for a soul. So I don't know. Martin just really wants to believe that stuff.
He's very adamant about polls and how untrue Islam is.
About what?
How untrue Islam
yeah.
is. Because whenever somebody is on talking about Islam, or even when he has a chance to bring it into the conversation, I've noticed he gets really adamant and really firm about it, whereas other things he's a little more easygoing.
Yeah. Yep. So I wonder if Dr. Stanley Scribner has a wiki page.
Yeah, that's my next thought, was to Google him, get some images.
There's a few of those guys out there that almost make a living doing this stuff. Yep, he has a wiki page. It is him.
Okay.
Or no, wait a minute. No, this might be somebody different. American psychologist and parapsychologist. I don't know. I don't know. I have to listen to the whole video, and it's.
Does it say when he was born?
1932.
Yeah, he could be that guy because.
Yeah, that's the same guy they were interviewing on the second
At
clip.
least he's in his 80s, I guess.
But I'm not sure if this is him on the first clip.
Oh.
And if it is, then when the hell did they film this? He had to be in his 50s.
It had to be at least in the 70s or 80s.
Yeah. Why do I think his name is Stanley Scribner? Did I pronounce that right? Let me go back here and see if I can find it. But anyway, all very, very, very interesting. All this evidence they have for the soul not leaving the body and all that shit. And there was something else I read about. I don't know, some bullshit article website that I found about the mind living outside of the body or something like that. And they just, here it is, how the immortal human brain works. I'm not sure. Just a little website I found, Secrets of the Mind. Yeah, I mean, people just love this kind of shit, you know, especially today when we're moving away from religion and we're trying to find new things like crystals and, stuff like that.
Yeah, it seems like a few years ago, I overheard some atheists talking about new tactics that apologists were thinking about using, and some of those were like supernatural experiences in other religions. You know, basically saying these are real, but God is the God, and those are demonic experiences. But come on over to Christianity, where you can get all that supernatural stuff. Plus, you'll have Jesus.
Yeah, this Stanley Scribner makes a point in that interview where they're interviewing him as an old man, and he makes a really big point that these experiences have nothing to do with religion.
Yeah,
but he still thinks they have something to do with supernatural. So, there's all varieties in between. That these experiences appear across religions, and I made at some point I used to research this stuff in my youth, and there are just William James and Huxley and Carl Jung. They all were really into this stuff, and they've looked for it in history, and they found just many references to these spiritual experiences. And I keep making the point that that's because it's something that the human brain does. And we have, a lot of really good medical evidence now that it is very closely related to a temporal lobe seizure.
Yeah, the common denominator amongst all those religions is that humans are part of religion.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think this is the same guy. He looks different.
I have never encountered a religious cat or dog.
Yeah.
Not even I think it would be just really revolutionary if they found forms of religion and chimpanzees and gorillas.
Well, dogs are spiritual, but not religious.
But yeah, they're the nuns.
So they're spiritual atheists.
I think kibble is their god.
Yep. Okay, guys, you got 30 seconds of dead air. I got to run get some nicotine products.
Dead air. Okay, it's a challenge for us, David. How are we going to fill 30 seconds of talking about stuff?
I don't know.
Because 30 seconds. After 30 seconds of talking, I have to go lay down and put a cold compress on my forehead.
Yeah. I don't know. He put the Speed put the link on. Nobody's jumping in so far. Huh? That's surprising. Got a few people. How many people we got watching today? Many, or what do we got?
We got
Not
got
too
about
many.
a nice dozen right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, people
We
hate
got
us.
again for the lazy ones.
Yeah.
But
Gourmania.
you're talking about memories being constructed. I had this major what's the word when you have an ongoing feud or argument with somebody over a college I was taking some computer classes from many years ago, and for some reason I thought that the student loan repayment situation was one way, and that I was told that by the person at the office who handled that kind of thing. And in my mind, it was word for word. I knew what that person had said to me, and so I refused to pay back that loan. I don't care what happens to me. I'm going to call, and I wanted to call and take action because they told me the wrong stuff and it was costing me. And then years later, after we decided to throw up our hands and pay off the student loan and everything, I remembered, damn, that lady was right. I remembered it the right way. And I say that, but it's like for some reason my mind, and at the time I wasn't under stress. I wasn't trying to manipulate things my way. It's just I just knew I was right. But then later I knew I had been mistaken about that, and I don't know how to explain it. It was memory, not only memory construction but memory rewiring. So
Yep. Well, I see our resident young Earth creationist is here and thinking about jumping in. Maybe that would be nice.
Yes. Jump into the deep end.
Yeah, come on in.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Want to say howdy?
Is there anything to gain? Is there anything to gain? He's saying.
Oh, yeah. Have a discussion about that Koonin paper you linked yesterday. That would be
Daniel,
interesting.
Speed always gives $50 to people, who come in and talk.
Yep. In speed bumps.
Speed bumps, yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's a cryptocurrency, speed bumps.
Yeah, 50 speed bump dollars.
Speed bump, yeah, and it doesn't have like you can't buy an integral number of shares. It has to be an imaginary number.
All right, I got a good question here. All right, so Daniel, see what he wrote. Is it, what did he write there? I'm not sure if there's anything to gain. Are we guilty of that too? Like, I mean, obviously in some cases, right? I mean, some cases you talk to theists and we say the same thing. This is a waste of time, right? So I guess we're just as guilty on that end, right? As he is saying. He's kind of saying the same thing. My waste of my time, right? I guess.
You get frustrated.
Yeah.
When you see something a certain way and you can't get people to see it your way, you get a little frustrated.
Yeah, absolutely. It all depends. I mean, it all depends on the discussion, right? And the topic, and sometimes there's lots of fruitful conversations that go on between, within the community. There's lots of great conversations, and there's plenty of shitty ones too. So it all depends.
David, you might want to slap your microphone around because you're getting that staticky thing in and out.
Yeah, slap that microphone. Just kick its ass. Kick its ass.
Yeah.
Is that a technical term?
Yeah.
Yeah. I should probably get a new headset. I can wear a headset thing with the mic on. I should probably get a new one. I've been using this one for a while. Yeah.
Well, dang it, Gromadia must have just argued everybody out and nobody wants to talk.
Yeah.
I think he's having another stream tonight.
Yeah, he talked about that, yeah.
Oh, I'm just straightening something out here with Secular Pagan Mom. I did pay her in speed bumps. 25 plus 2i speed bumps. And she's claiming she didn't get it, but it's because it's an imaginary number. Of course you wouldn't think right. Yeah. Of course you wouldn't see it. It's in my head. Not yours, obviously.
It's out in the universe.
I don't know why people don't understand this. I keep paying all my bills with imaginary speed bumps.
You just need to keep speaking it as if true. Second opinion, and that $50 will come to you.
Well, you'd be surprised how many bill collectors have called me up and I've explained it to them in depth, and they just never contacted me again. They just wrote it off. You know, they're like, okay, I don't want to have this conversation.
Okay, we'll write you off. It'll take you 14 years to get your credit score back anyway. But Yep. Yeah, well, I think
Daniel,
they were afraid to even hit my credit. Huh?
Daniel, please come in. We're desperate.
Desperate.
Yeah,
Let's look at the
desperate
Koonin
for
article.
something. Yeah.
What can we glean from the Koonin article that he linked?
Now, Koonin is the soul thing. What's the? Oh, it's that's what Daniel linked.
No, Koonin wrote a paper. He wrote a review, not a paper. This is a review, and this is meant to kind of give you an idea of the status of something in the industry. So it's an overall. So Eugene Koonin is the one that they quote. All the creationists love to quote that one little paragraph at the end of his long, huge book, The Logic of Chance. And so anyway, Eugene Koonin wrote this paper in 2009, and it's on the origin and evolution of the genetic code, the universal enigma. So it's one of the things that we're trying to figure out. And if you look at the introduction, it's a highly robust. It's a code that's highly robust to translational misreading, but there are numerous more codes that are even more robust that could have been picked. But it shows, according to Koonin, it shows that there was some reason why this code was picked because of the nature of the chemistry involved. Plus, there has been a lot of evolutionary tinkering with this code to make it extremely robust, to make it really good.
Could it be that almost other codes were like down in Mexico, you know, staying at a lodge there and having fun, and so that code had to step in and
exactly.
It was just the one available.
Yep. Natural selection. This code was naturally, and also shows you why we need the concept of natural selection. There are more than 10 to the 84 possible alternative code tables if each of the 20 amino acids and stop signals are to be assigned to at least one codon. So there's 10 to the 84 possible ways that code could have been. And yet across all of life, it's almost identical, not completely identical, because there are some variations across, like in your mitochondria. There are some differences, some minor differences, but they're minor. But anyway, there's a link between the second codon letter and the properties of the encoded amino acids, so that codons with U in the second position correspond to amino acids that are afraid of water. They're as I call them, homophobic. Hydrophobic.
I thought water was hydro, man.
I get those things confused.
What's the difference?
Yeah. And the code is evolvable, and he makes that case. A variety of other deviations from the standard genetic code across several kingdoms have been reported. Over 20 alternative codes. So there are differences. It's not, not in concrete. And we're talking about the code that codes, these three nucleotide sequences to one amino acid. And this is everybody's proof for intelligent design. But I don't see anything in this Koonin paper that suggests that it was intelligently designed. In fact, what Koonin is doing here is doing a review, because there's been a lot of statistical work done on how these codes ended up being the way they are, how they got selected basically by the chemistry, the nature of the amino acids and the nature of the code itself sort of selected a particular code. And it also shows that all life is pretty damn closely related, it would be cooler if it had turned out that there were a whole bunch of different codes and we had a number of different sources for life, but it looks like it's all related. When it comes to DNA, anyway. By the time DNA rolled around, the common ancestor was the thing here.
But don't you think there was quite a battle, at that microscopic level among all the different
there's a lot
prebiotic forms that just kind of set up conditions to where any other alternative would have been, eaten out of existence because there was no food left except for the majority winner.
Yeah, there was originally, I think it was ambiguous enough that there was a lot of replication errors. So there was a high amount of errors, so that offspring would frequently deviate, right? And
yeah,
so there wasn't a lot of copy fidelity early on. So you had a lot of really weird different things going on, and they all just happened to they sort of cobbled together in a way that they worked. And that's where I wanted to talk more with you guys about this idea of the interactome, or what's in the cell, and how there has to be some consensus that manages to keep the cell alive, allow it to metabolize, and maybe allow it to divide and separate, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And but early on, when they divided and separated, they may well have went along two very, very different pathways very quickly. So there was not a lot of really high fidelity replication, yet something about life persisted over and over again. And it's just something I'm mulling around in my mind and working on for abiogenesis, that there was a great deal of variation going on. But eventually the code settled down and became very specific, and the 20 amino acids became selected for. So that was all there was, because for an organism to eat another organism, that's the problem with aliens coming to Earth. The chances of aliens coming to Earth and them being able to eat us is fortunately very low.
Right.
Because they'll probably have different amino acids, and
Right. Yep.
Yep.
Chances are they'd probably just put us in a blender and pour us into huge vats for some sort of construction or chemical process.
Yeah.
And we'll probably become industrial pulp for something else.
So where did Daniel Bennett go?
I don't know.
When I started talking about the paper, he seems to have disappeared.
He might have become very disappointed that the $50 we were talking about were speed bumps and they were imaginary numbers.
Oh shit! I shouldn't have told him that, eh?
Yeah, some people don't think that's much of an incentive.
Yeah. Well, I used to pay people in gherkins, so.
Yeah. Not everybody likes gherkins. I thought everybody liked having imaginary dollars.
Yeah. Well, people love Bitcoin.
Okay, we're going to buy Andrew Cumming. Tell us a fun fact about gravity.
Oh, fucking physics again. Andrew, I'm really getting worried about you. You're supposed to be a molecular biologist, not a goddamn physicist.
Hasn't he gone off to college and now he's just learning all these new cool things and he's just full of knowledge and
he is
overflowing with giddiness with it, and he just wants to share it with us.
Ooh, Icarus has a spoiler.
Oh, Icarus knows the answer, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty short stream if somebody doesn't come in and give us something to work with here.
Yeah, where's Gura? He likes talking.
Gura likes to talk. Gura got some explaining to do about this killing children thing, killing your offspring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to once again issue a public service announcement. If you think God is telling you to do anything, that to somebody else, and it involves anything more than maybe
evangelizing.
If God wants you to give somebody a paper cut or whatever, anything from there to killing a child, go to the hospital. In fact, ask that God that you're listening to for $100,000 and an Uber driver to take you to the hospital. And if you do have $100,000 and an Uber driver miraculously appear, you have more of a case.
Yes.
But anyway, anything in your head that tells you to harm somebody else, you need to go to the hospital.
And
wouldn't it be cool?
Yeah. Also, hope and pray that Uber driver is not John Maddox, because he might start evangelizing you and talk you out of going. He might, yeah. Oh, just believe in Jesus.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be cool? Like bullies in a Christian school, if they, gave somebody a wedgie and got called into the principal's office, they could claim that Jesus told them to do it.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be awesome. And the principal would be like, well, I don't know if I can fucking argue with this one.
That's right. I don't want to come up against Jesus.
Yeah.
He's the OG of principles.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
A bully messiah. Bully messiah. That's what we could call the series. Let's pitch Netflix on this bully messiah.
Bully messiah.
Yeah. Coevolution theory, a link between code and amino acid metabolism. So there are a number of theories, and this paper is a review of all those theories.
And it's got pictures.
Yeah, and here's some of the statistical work that they've done on the way that the properties of amino acids relate to the codons. And they found patterns. I mean, undeniable patterns in this stuff. And if you're a crazy naturalist like me, you can imagine how that might have actually wrote the code. Those patterns. Anyway. Okay, where's that? Did he hang on? Did I miss Andrew?
No, he's not coming in for some reason. He wants
to.
No,
he was doing it in chat.
Yeah,
we're supposed to fucking you want us to do your work for you, Andrew? Did anyone know that pressure can cause gravity? Not matter, just pressure of that matter? No, I didn't know that. Fun fact.
Well, what are the units for that pressure? Because you're not talking about air pushing down on you, and what other force would be providing that pressure if it's not gravity?
Wow, how the hell does that work? Pressure?
Now, there might be some sort of attractive force, like in some of the other, what do they call them? The four fundamental forces of physics.
No idea.
So I could see how something like that might be able to provide pressure, but I don't know how.
Yeah.
Physics really out there who could explain it to us.
Yeah. Physics really pisses me off.
All those calculations and having to be right.
It's just, it would be so fun to get into it.
In real life, if what you produce is subpar, there's always a market for the shitty stuff you make. But in physics, it all has to be top notch.
I would like the website. Yes, I would like the website. Got a link, Andrew? Got a link to your bullshit
Andrew,
theory?
are you in class right now, Andrew? Why aren't you popping in?
Everybody hates us today. Nobody loves us.
Yeah.
Have we really shit on anybody today at all?
I know.
Other than Bill O'Reilly?
What the F is our problem? Are we that bad? I don't know.
I don't know, post a link up there again. Maybe they didn't see it.
I put the link out there several times.
Yeah, Randolph said he was going to come in, but he hasn't come in yet.
Well, he said he had something to do for 5 minutes or so.
Yeah.
I have not had time to gather much content lately because I'm busy with some other projects. And so I kind of depend on you guys coming in. Otherwise, I'm going to shoot her in the head. Shoot her in the head. What the hell?
Yeah.
At this point, we'd probably even let in like weenies, I mean, we might even consider letting a weenie in here.
Yeah.
Shit. We're desperate.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But God, what if we get an Otangelo instead?
Well, that would be all right.
I don't know if I'm ready for that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I do have to say some people are pretty hard on Tangelo sometimes, but you can understand why. But sometimes he does get the short end of the stick here and there. I do have to say.
Well, you know what? I listened in yesterday on Gur's channel. Gur, I don't. We need to come up with a better first name than Gur. But it seemed like he was actually conversing with people, and that's really what matters.
Right,
and,
right.
You know,
exactly. Yeah.
rather than treating somebody as just an excuse to read your post.
Yeah.
The thing about Otangelo is that potted plant look he gets when you argue with him, and then he won't answer a question. He won't allow the Socratic method of arguing with him, you know, of drilling down to the details, and he keeps saying the same thing pretty much over and over again. And he gives you the potted plant look when you're explaining something, and you kind of know that he's not listening to you.
Oh, I have a question real quick. It's slightly unrelated. James Downer, who invented the term potted plant look, I haven't seen him on his channel in a while. Do we know that he's okay? Has anybody heard from RJ? Does anybody know what's going on?
Did he not do a thing on Wednesday?
He did not the last couple of Wednesdays.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I think it showed his last one was like 3 weeks ago.
Oh, shit.
And I just want, you know, he could be taking vacation, of course, or maybe he's just spending some time dedicated to authoring The Rocks Were There, Volume 2.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I haven't seen him. Sometimes he'll just do the old, thing talking about. I tell you what, you let Randolph in there, sir. All right.
Okay.
Randolph, how you doing? But anyway,
pretty good. How are you?
I'm just concerned. I haven't seen RJ around, and if any of our talented and brave storm spotters, storm chasers, hears anything about RJ, let us know.
Oh, is he chasing storms lately?
I don't know.
The people in our side chat, I refer to them lovingly as our storm chasers, because this is the weather report.
Oh, okay.
But
internet storms.
Icarus said he had a tweet on the 20th. Oh, that's a while ago.
That's a while back.
Yeah.
I wonder. We might need to email him, I guess, or maybe Jackson.
I'm doing that right now.
He would say, "I'm checking in for the night. See y'all tomorrow," or something, and haven't noticed that either.
Yeah.
What were you about to say, Speed?
My apologies.
Jackson was just on a thing with T-Jump.
I
arguing
saw that.
with
was just yeah.
Who is that Jen? Is that the Jen from
Church of Entropy, right? That's her
name,
right?
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
My God, what an arrogant person.
Yeah. Yeah. I did see that. I was just about to say the same thing, and that's why I said I thought that's what you were gonna say, and that's why I said, oh, go ahead, say what you're gonna say. Yeah.
I've never seen Jackson get so close to being really mad and rude as with her. I mean, I've never seen anybody get Jackson off as, where he's not exactly smiling at you. He's always such a low keyed.
So what channel was that on?
That was on T-Jumps, I think.
T-Jumps.
I'll have to look at that.
Yeah. But I listened to as much of it as I could stand. I mean, she was going on about, I don't know what the hell these people think anyway. Yeah. So Randolph, what's up?
I was wondering what they were discussing on T-Jump's channel.
It was a debate.
It was evolution.
Evolution and creationism kind of thing.
Yeah, well, she's not, I don't think she's a theist, some kind of a deist, I think. She believes that the mind somehow shapes DNA, and they have some mathematical formula where they can show you how the helix forms mathematically, and how, I don't know, and I think she related it to like the fucking sun or something, and like planets. Actually, I don't know, it's just way out there.
There are so many whacked out ideas about DNA. I look at John Maddox thinking that it's a computer program, and there's other people thinking other things, and it's like, oh, gosh.
Yeah, and so Daniel Bennett, yes, chemistry does have the urge to select things. Like if you mix vinegar and baking soda, it has the urge to make bubbles.
But when you say urge, it makes it sound like it's emotional.
Yeah, and that's kind of where they go with it, but that's what they believe, basically, that it all is something to do with emotions and or intelligence, right?
Yeah.
You know, that
Intent.
it has to be
Intent, right?
intelligently designed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the chemicals have urges. Um, sodium loves chlorine, you know, shit like that.
Reactions, right? Well,
Yeah.
reactions, right?
Yep.
Jon Stewart was one time from the Daily Show was saying that his favorite element is carbon because it'll get it on with anything.
Oh, yes, exactly.
The most promiscuous.
Yep. Yeah, and the nature of carbon actually is why there is life.
Yeah.
It's all about the nature of that particular set of orbitals and where it is in the periodic table and everything that allows it to complexify. You know,
So
just to.
I seem to remember in Star Trek or some science fiction from the original series or around that time, there was this idea that there's that not all life forms in the universe are carbon-based. There's some that might be copper-based or something else.
Or silicon, yeah.
Silica. So this is a real thing. This is really possible.
No.
No.
Silicon has another layer of electrons, and it turns out it doesn't quite. I mean, carbon is just perfectly positioned to create more complex compounds with
Okay.
the least amount of energy. So the silicon thing doesn't really make a lot of sense. I mean, even though silicon is right below carbon, right in the.
So the key to it is getting to more complex kind of structures. Then.
Yeah, and carbon does that just easily, and also will mate with damn near with anything. So it's promiscuous on top of it, and
it gets urges. It gets those promiscuous urges.
Gets urges, but
we have another public service announcement from Icarus, one of our most loyal storm chasers. When molecules, what'd you do that for?
What?
I was about to read this public service announcement. Okay. Just don't kill air molecules, because what happens is airplanes get up in the air and the propeller goes around and starts killing all those air molecules. Apparently, according to Dr. Praise I Am That I Am.
Yeah, you know what we're talking about, Randolph?
Well, I was going to ask if you're flying over Mexico, is it advisable not to drink the chemtrails?
Yeah, I would advise against drinking chemtrails.
I don't quite know what you're talking about, killing air molecules.
Well, that's what he said.
Dr. Praise.
That's what Praise.
Yeah, Dr. Praise I Am came out with this analogy about what was he trying to tell us about? He's trying to tell us about the morality of chemicals or something, but
what?
No, what was he telling? But anyway, he said, when a propeller goes through the air, it kills air molecules. And then what was the second one? He had one after that. It was about something else that kills air molecules.
I don't remember that. I was just too
funny.
I was just too dazed and shocked by the.
Maybe he's been reading some Deepak Chopra lately.
Maybe he has. By the way, I did find that link to T Jump's channel with the Jackson Wheat debate versus Chin Pak Chopra. Chin Pak Chopra. But,
wow. That's good. Good
I think we have a little editorial titling from T Jump there.
Yeah.
So here we have the gravity pressure theorist guy. Did you link that in the? Did you ever give me a link?
I was about to link it in the private chat. 1 second.
Oh, good. Okay.
The link was too big to link, and I was on my main computer, and for some reason the link is too big on that computer, so I went on to my laptop. But here it is in the private chat.
Okay.
Free to
Einstein Online. I'll put that in the public one.
Okay. If you wanted me to go into more detail on it, I also had a picture to show, if you'd like.
We'd love it. Explain yourself. I don't understand how that works.
Okay. Yeah, I watched a cool video recently, and it explained a lot of this, and I don't have it on me right now, but was really fascinating. And I can guarantee that after I explain this, you won't look at gravity the same way again.
Cool.
Okay, here we go. Let me know when you can see it.
I'm getting really tired of gravity.
It weighs heavy on you, huh?
It's
It
pissing
really
me
drags
off.
it down.
Pissing me off. Okay, momentum density.
Okay. Is it still showing?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
We can
Sure
see it.
is.
All right. So this is so this is part of the Einstein field equations, a set of 16 dependent equations. So they're all interconnected with each other. This is one side of the equations, which has to do with how matter and energy, and in this case, momentum and pressure, is distributed through space-time. And what each, so this is a tensor equation, so it's kind of like a matrix. Each of these numbers represents one of the dimensions of space-time. In this case, 0 is time, and 1, 2, 3 are the XYZ coordinates of space, three-dimensional space. And so you have two coordinates for each part of these the equations. And first off, you have what's called energy density, which is energy through time alone. So that's basically the amount of energy in a particular spot. This is basically equivalent, the energy density, to mass density that's found in Newton's theory of gravity. Then over here and over here, you have energy moving through one dimension of space and one dimension of time. Or sorry, one dimension of space and a dimension of time. And that's basically what we call momentum, energy or mass moving through space over time. So that contributes to gravity on these equations. Then on this line, you have energy moving over space through space. So basically, that's the tendency of energy to push outward, and that's what we call pressure. So these equations where it's energy, where both components are space components, is the pressure density. And then over here, don't ask me to explain these two. I don't quite understand these side of the equations. It basically, as far as I'm aware, has to do with a different kind of pressure or viscosity, something like that. Basically, how energy affects things around it, I guess. So yeah, that's this is called the energy momentum tensor for obvious reasons. It's one part of the Einstein field equations that links mass and energy to the curvature of space-time. So I don't know if any of that made sense, but that's the picture I wanted to show you.
Cool.
Well, the thing I've never really seen is calculations like that or graphs like that associating it with the curvature of space-time.
Oh yeah, the equations are way more complicated than that. I'm just showing a kind
Yeah,
of
there's an R in there somewhere that stands for the curvature. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, the Ricci tensor that has to do with how space-time is warped by the mass and energy. So that's kind of why the equations are interdependent, because you have mass and energy. I should say mass energy, because mass is just another form of energy, and vice versa. Mass energy curving space-time, and then that space-time curvature tells the mass how to move, but that gives rise to a different distribution of mass energy, momentum, that warps the space-time in a different way, and then it kind of it loops back on itself. It's kind of a feedback loop, and that's why the equations are so difficult to solve, and why you need to make a lot of simplifying assumptions to get some valid results, if that makes sense. Yeah. Pretty hard math.
I got a job for you there, Andrew.
Okay.
You did you get that picture? Did you get that from the video?
No, it's from Wikipedia page.
Okay, from Wiki. Do you have a link to that, and do you have a link to the video you're talking about that explains this a little bit?
Sure. You guys talk about something. I'll find the video.
Yep. I know I'm a pain in the ass with my link bullshit, but we like to put everything in the description that we talk about. So anyway, so if you talk about your job, you have to link me to all the information about where you work and
Social security number.
Social security number. Yeah, the whole thing. How much you make. Yeah. A little pedantic that way.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Smokey stopped by today. Smokey's asking, yes, Praise did say that.
Yeah, he said air molecules die. We have a clip on, oh God, that was a weather report from before I went on vacation. So when was that we did that? Praise.
Yeah.
I need an index for my weather reports because we have a lot of links in those things now that, would be important to know. You need if we had a database. Only if we had a database, software database specialist on staff, Scott.
All right, I was having to do something with the dog. What?
So that we could basically find all the things that we talked about on weather reports. If we had like a subject, like a database. We need a database.
We just need a subject database just for us to help us harken back to the good old days.
Yep.
So, Speed, the video link is now posted in the private chat.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
So there you go.
Should we maybe ask, with all the talk of rocks being atheist and agnostic and all that stuff in recent years, should we ask Praise to weigh in on whether rocks can die?
If they fall down a hill, if they fall off a cliff or something, they die.
Well, atheists believe we came from a rock a billion years ago.
Right.
My accent is terrible.
Trying to do Kent Hovind, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. You kind of got there. Yeah, that's why I was able to tell.
Yeah.
Thanks.
We've had Dr. Josh on here for several days, and he has yet to do his Ken Hovind for us, has he? I don't think he's done it on here.
Dr. Josh has been here. Yeah, he's great.
He's been here the past few days. I was going to get him to do it yesterday, but he dropped out. He ended up leaving. I was going to ask him to do it, but
I'm going to have a conversation with him. He and I and Scott are going to talk about Old Testament things, history and things. Because I have
Old
questions.
Testament on his ass.
Yeah, the idea is to kind of give a little primer for atheists who have always been atheists and don't know crap about the Bible. We have questions about that book, where it came from, when it coalesced, what was happening in world history at the time and stuff like that. And I think you talk about that and a few other things.
Yeah,
like possible.
I've always been an atheist too, so I'll find that interesting.
Yeah, and also possible links to Eastern thinking and wisdom, and how much cross-pollination was going on between Taoism and Buddhism and Hinduism and Christianity at the time.
Oh, and there's and Zoroastrianism played a significant role. All kinds of stuff.
Yeah. What was I going to say?
Did you watch that video on Greek mythology and its influence, or more like there was a previous mythology that influenced Greek and Indus Valley religion? Did you see that one? Did you watch it?
I started watching it, but I wasn't sure what I was watching. So I was going to ask you. So it gets into that. So okay.
Yeah, it's a kind of a linguistic study too. But it was really fascinating. Somewhere in there was fascinating because I copied the link down to give to you. But it's just amazing. Finding out so much more lately. About how different people groups were related to others, and how they migrated from the Caucasus Mountains on down.
That's what I'm
different areas. Some became the Greeks. Others moved on down into India.
in my limited imagination, I imagine that Jesus and his ilk were kind of like the hippies back then that came in and started this whole new trend. Because if you look back from the perspective I have of the 50s and 60s and 70s and the hippie influence on our culture today, you can just see how the whole hippie movement kind of blended into a whole lot of bullshit that we got going on today. Hunter S. Thompson describes it as, the wave went out and came back and crashed on the shore of, the Rocky Mountains. And I don't know, he puts it very poetically in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas about, exactly how the movement started up, and it was really wonderful. And then it kind of like turned into a whole bunch of other shit that is just our culture is filthy with today. You can see it. Some of it good, some of it bad, and it's really interesting. But I kind of imagine that back in the time of Jesus, that a very similar thing might have been going on, and these Christians were like the hippies and the heretics, and with the new ideas and stuff, and it sort of took hold and had massive influence. But I have no idea what was going on back then, so it'd be an interesting conversation. So,
HB.
Yeah. Yep.
Can I respond to Smokey's latest comment with a question?
Oh my God, yes. Do we have to talk about the Smokey?
Oh, sorry. Second to last comment. Now,
making the Ek lose their minds.
Yeah, so I have a question for you, Smokey. So you're making them lose their minds, and you have videos, and I try to make them lose their minds, but I don't have any videos, or it seems to go away after a while. So what's your secret, man? Can you? Yeah. Give me some advice, maybe?
He's coming at them from where they live. He's doing something really bad, or bad, to them. Like he's coming at them from the Bible, and they don't like that so much.
And I have to say that I love it myself.
Yeah. Well. It's one thing that Smokey's doing that I can condone, but probably the only thing that Smokey does that I can condone.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've tried interacting with SFT lately, and he doesn't respond to me now. So maybe I've ticked him up enough. Yeah. Enough. What am I saying?
He's very much off on his own now. He's got his ministry. People have supported him. Fools have gone over to his channel and done debates and built him up. And now he's got his ministry, and that's all he's going to do is that. He doesn't care to engage with anybody that can challenge him, except in his, in his particular world where he can turn it around and, have the chat going wild on his side, and just it's just a cesspool of.
You're basically saying he's turned into his own kind of god of the SFT universe.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And that was where he was going from the beginning, and I called it a year ago, or more than a year ago, that this guy is going to be a problem.
Right.
This guy, you thought Hovland, or whatever his name is, Hovland, is that how you pronounce it, was a problem?
Hovland. You were right the second time.
Yeah. Hovland. SFT is like Hovland with a brain. You can imagine that.
But without a PhD, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Smokey's just showing them how dishonest they are, right?
Yeah.
So, and if you do the same thing, they just dismiss it. But because Smokey has, technically the same worldview, they can't just dismiss what he's saying, because you know how they all are. It's all about the worldviews and all that.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So it's So that's kind of really the factor.
It's so funny that the older creationists and theistic evolutionists seem to rile them up even more than we do.
No, yes,
yeah.
Like Sal Cordova, he just hates Swamidas. I mean, God, he just gets on fire. We haven't heard much from him either lately.
Right.
He went off on that.
He's probably been busy repairing all these books he's been throwing around.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, he went off on that. What the hell's the name of that church? McLean Bible Church.
He got into church politics.
Yeah, and he hasn't come back yet. So back to what he was doing before. And I think
he's gone to the dark side of the church. Okay, he'll be a while.
Oh, I think security was at the point of escorting him out of that church, and there was just all kinds of shit going on. There's all sorts of political bullshit going on.
Church politics. Wow.
They don't like they don't like the woke pastor that they have because he's woke. He's liberal and believes in Black Lives Matters, and he's coming out against injustice against black people by the police,
Right.
and it created this schism in the church that just is just really kicking their ass. I think they lost half their congregation.
Wow.
Or something.
Because somebody's trying to be decent.
Huh. Yeah. Yep. And Cordova's right in the middle of that. He's on the other side. It's like, we don't need any woke bullshit here, It's like there is no such thing as racism in America.
Oh my gosh. There's racism problems here in Canada. They're not severe like what we see in the US, but for someone in the US to deny it, that just seems way out to lunch from here.
Yep.
So I have an off-topic question for y'all. So genetic entropy doesn't exist, but do you know if older creationists would accept it still? I mean, I'm not too sure on that.
I think if you want them to accept it, you just have to convince them that God started the process of genetic entropy.
Yeah.
I
don't think they would.
I'm just saying, doesn't that conflict with an old Earth?
Yeah, it does. It does very much. I mean, it wouldn't be possible for there to be life.
From the very simplistic young Earth creationist mindset of genetic entropy version of it.
The worst thing about genetic entropy is the source of it, the reason for it, the reason they want to make it a thing is they not only want to prove young Earth creationism, but they want to prove that we're damned. That the human race can't possibly exist for more than another 300 years, and basically, so the apocalypse has to happen sometime real soon, because we are degrading so rapidly because of the fall. So I mean, you got to
coming back real soon.
What's that?
Jesus is coming back real soon.
Oh yeah, they've been.
I didn't know that.
For a long time.
It's not like every year for the past 2,000 years he hadn't been.
Well, I heard that he's been back at least 30 or 40 times, and they keep putting him in fucking psych wards.
I'm supposed to have lunch with him next week. I'm supposed to have lunch next week. But I don't know.
I mean, surely you're not saying. Oh, sorry.
What?
That's all right. Go ahead, Andrew. I was just making a joke.
I'm hearing an echo. Is that me? Oh.
Yeah,
I don't
hear
have
an echo.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. StreamYard corrects echoes, so if you just keep talking, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay. What was I gonna say? Darn it.
Shirley Speed.
Oh, right. Shirley Speed, you're not saying that the idea of genetic entropy is motivated by revelation, not science. Surely you're not saying that.
Yeah, I guess I am making that accusation pretty seriously. Yeah. Yeah, and it just drives me crazy when they I mean, when you start with the Bible as the source of whatever your idea about genetics is, it just seems like something's wrong there, right? 'Cause I read a couple of passages from Genesis the other day, and it just does not seem like a genetics book to me. Yeah. I mean, I got genetics textbooks up the ass, and the Bible just doesn't seem to be one of them. I'm sorry, but I mean, like the little bit about the ark, when they start talking about the ark and building the fucking ark and all that stuff, I don't see a lot of science in that. I don't know.
I don't see a lot of Dalet, Noon, Aleph in there. Yeah, they don't really talk about that.
There was a lot more science involved in building the ark in Kentucky.
Yeah, right. Yes, and bulldozers and
that one can't float. And then the roof leaked, and then the insurance wouldn't pay for it. Oh, they had a bunch of problems.
Yep. Well, I get stuff from Ken Ham almost daily about visiting the Ark and all the new things that they're doing out there and all the new exhibits, and get some really good material in the form of probably 1,000 emails from those guys that we should go over sometime.
How is that place doing financially? It's still surviving, obviously.
Who was doing? Wasn't it Jake and what the hell was his name? God, what did I forgot their channel name. You remember Jake and? Oh shit!
Jake
They used to do. What's that?
Jake from State Farm?
No, not that one.
Sorry.
That was a good one, Andrew. That was good.
Yeah, they haven't been on my radar for a while, but they were doing like updates on the financials and also the Utah Outcasts, I think it's called. They're a bunch of atheists from Utah. They do frequent updates on the financials for the Ark, but I haven't seen any for a while. YouTube really pisses me off. I mean, it keeps changing as to what it recommends.
That seems to be another thing. Like if
hold on things. Hey, Danny, how you doing?
Hello.
Hey, Danny.
Hey, Speed.
Yep. What were you going to say, Andrew? Somebody's going to say something?
Yeah. I was just going to say, kind of seems a bit silly to say, okay, we're going to build this Ark for millions of dollars, but Noah created it because he was a strong young man.
What? How many hundreds of years old was he again?
Yeah,
he was like 300 or something.
Oh, 900. 900.
Well, you see, before the fall, or wait, no, that's after the fall. He was less genetically degenerate, and he was stronger than a normal human, so he could have built the Ark just fine.
So whoever said that? You see that their whole concept of genetic fitness or whatever is just so skewed towards Action Comics and Marvel Comics.
Yes,
they really think Stan Lee is the primary expert on genetics and DNA.
So did you hear Nephilim Freeze thing about how there's evidence that Noah was really old, and we know that the longer an organism lives, the bigger it gets.
Yeah.
So obviously Noah had really big hands and a big forearm. So a cubit was twice as long. So the Ark had to be twice as big.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, he was doing that on his stream, a couple days ago?
Yep.
I'm sorry.
He was arguing that he was a giant, basically, yeah.
Please don't tell me Neff thinks that dinosaurs are giant, overgrown lizards.
He does. I think he does. Yeah.
Oh,
he said
gosh.
The longer something lives, the bigger it gets.
Thing. That's a Kent Hovind thing. He just thinks dinosaurs were lizards that got really old.
Right.
Oh, boy.
So by the time Noah died, he was probably about 25 feet tall. And that's probably what killed him. I don't know.
Yep. Neff was battling. Oh, he was. It was with Sky Out over on. Go watch John Maddox's last stream, and that's where they had a long conversation about Noah, how he was a giant, and they had the argument about the dinosaurs, whether they were on the Ark or not, and all that. And actually, Maddox was defended that a little bit. The dinosaurs being on the Ark. I mean, he didn't say a lot, but a little bit. Yeah.
I just thought of something. If dinosaurs and humans live together, does that mean the Flintstones is a documentary?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So,
I'm curious. When did the creationists start talking about dinosaurs being on the Ark? Because I don't remember that at all when I was a kid.
I know. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wonder when that happened. I think that's been within the last 10 years.
Yeah, that used to be the answer to what happened to the dinosaur. Like, how come you never deal with dinosaurs or whatever? It was like, well, they died during the flood. And now you've got Noah storing them on the Ark and feeding them and using them to carry, I guess, all the poop off the edge of the.
And they only died right after the flood ended.
Gopher wood is amazing. You can make an entire ark that can store all those animals. It must be what the TARDIS in Doctor Who is constructed of. Gopher wood.
Right.
Noah's giant forearms. I'll put it in the description. I got the link to Maddox's video where he talks about it.
What was the situation with John or LPP? He wasn't streaming because he was living in his car. What was actually happening there?
With John?
Yeah.
Maddox?
Yeah, he moved. He moved. Yeah.
He moved, and it's at some point in chat he said something about living in his truck because for some reason he bought a truck to move, and then he decided to remodel the truck. And I only caught bits and pieces of it, and it's like, and I'm asking, what the fuck is he doing? Why don't you just go to U-Haul and rent a truck?
Oh,
You know?
Speed, can you highlight Lucifer's comment? Because yes, that is correct. I stand corrected.
And even more, forget the dinosaur remark. Look at the hat on that dog. That is awesome.
I didn't even see that.
Oh, nice.
Lucifer needs to be the new avatar for the show.
And according to Matt Powell, they were shooting dinosaurs during the Civil War.
Oh, yeah. They shot down pterodactyls. Yeah.
Yep.
Is he talking about like crocodiles or
Logan
something?
would have started. Sorry, go ahead, Danny.
I don't know if he specifically named a certain dinosaur, but he said dinosaurs. I don't know which ones he was talking about.
For all the Cletus out there, when we say dinosaur, we mean dinosaurs that are not birds.
Non-avian dinosaurs.
Non-avian dinosaurs, yep.
Oh, we lost
But as
Ian.
far as the dinosaur in the Civil War, that was pterodactyl, right?
Yeah.
Because,
yeah.
There's some picture out there floating around. Where did
What'd you
Danny
do?
go?
Yeah, I
What'd you
saw
do
that
to
picture. I did not throw Danny out. I did not do anything. He left.
All right, well, never mind.
Not
I was
my
answering Danny.
Not my
Maybe
fault.
he's having problems.
Having a good chat.
I wonder how they're recovering down there. Didn't get a chance to ask him how they're doing down in his area.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, New Orleans got hit again, right?
Yep.
Another hurricane.
Yep.
I was out watching a rushing. We got hit with some water here finally, which we needed badly, but we had torrential rain for about 3 days.
Oh, wow.
And when my son was walking me last night, we went down the 9 Mile Creek, and it's like a creek that goes downhill for about 9 miles, and it's rapidly flowing. It looked pretty wicked. Some wicked water.
So I have a
Minnesota's.
question.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I just have a question for you, David. Or is it David Scott? I forgot.
Either one.
David. Oh, okay. So David, you said something about how you can be censored in the comment section, and because it was weird, because when I'm in or when I was on one of Maddox's streams, like it was timing me out every other comment. So I would put a comment, it would go in, and then the next comment, it would be timed out, and I would have to redo it. And sometimes that can be YouTube though, or their algorithms. It all depends. Like if you have a certain words in there, something
they also
could be
using
that
slow mode. They also could have been using slow mode, which will kind of do stuff like that. Depending on your web browser.
But also mods can just delete your one comment, but it'll say that though.
That's been deleted.
Yeah, they can just delete your one comment and allow you to keep going. So it all depends, but that sounds more like a YouTube thing. That for some reason there may be words in it in your comment that it didn't like it was picking up. Which I don't think I've ever had that happen to me, but I see it happening all the time to other people, and I don't think I've ever had that happen.
When Cheshire Vic was angry at me for something in one of the chats, and I wasn't even writing anything to her; it had nothing to do with her. But she's no longer moderator in that channel.
Yeah,
She got mad at you?
Yeah, she got mad at me because I contributed to the conversation, and she told me it would be upsetting to Steve McRae, and Steve wasn't even there.
About atheism and
No,
agnosticism? No,
it wasn't about that. They were talking about incels. It was on Dick Dawson's channel, and then what happened was it was a good conversation. They were bringing up names like Ted Bundy and some others, and then I put in a name as well. And then she told me to watch my language, and what's wrong with my language? I never used bad language, right? I have no idea. I thought maybe she's tagged the wrong person or something, and I didn't even know who she was at the time, so I didn't even recognize her name. So of course I wrote back, "Oh, what's the problem with my language? I'll certainly fix it." And she says, "You know what it is. This is your second warning," because that was my first warning. And wow, I got a number of warnings, and all I'm doing is asking questions. What the heck is going on? In the meantime, the host took my comment and said thank you, and I think they added to the conversation because it was constructive and all this. And it's just another example of another psychopath, but that could be an incel kind of thing. But anyway, she finally silenced me on that channel, and because I really had no idea who she was talking about, and she said, "Well, it's going to bother Steve," and I said, "Steve who?" There's lots of people named Steve, right? Yeah. So then my response to her was, "Oh, okay." So she said Steve McRae, and I said, "Well, my life doesn't revolve around him, so and he's not even here." Yep. And she went ballistic. So she's been angry at me ever since. And then I contacted her. So I contacted Dick Dawson afterwards and let him know what's going on. And I said, "Look, I don't understand this, but maybe you can get her to kind of lay off of me on this kind of stuff." And so he looked into it, and then he talked to his other moderators, and he watched the chat back. And then he came back to me and he said he doesn't like people bringing other people's drama into the channel. So it's resolved. Thank you. No worries. You'll be fine. And next thing I find out is she's no longer a moderator in that channel, and I think that's probably why she's mad at me. Oh, she lost her power.
Yeah, the list of things that upset Steve McRae and the amount of drama in his channel is like so drama fat already that if you bring one more drop of drama, it's going to have liver failure or some fucking thing and completely collapse.
I don't care because my life doesn't. In fact, I blocked him on Twitter about half a month ago, and because I had enough of his toxicity, and he tried so many times to reach the bar of toxicity for me that would get me blocking some. I only block about 7 people on Twitter. I don't like to block people, but he failed multiple attempts to get into my block list, but he finally succeeded this time. But my response to them is my life doesn't revolve around him. I'm not going to walk on eggshells just because it might hurt his feelings. Too bad. Yeah. No, I really don't care. He's got to grow. He's got to grow a pair.
Yeah, that non sequitur channel was one of my favorites back when it was going between, and it seemed like Kyle balanced out Steve somehow, and
Kyle
they ended up.
And I hope Kyle gets back to it someday because I think he could probably make it a big success again. He did. Yeah. He did it really well.
They went out of business or whatever you want to call it. Pretty soon after I started, getting into watching YouTube atheism. But I remember Nathaniel Jensen and another biologist had a debate on there. That was really a great debate, and the guy, but I don't remember the name of the scientist.
Was it Dr. Herman Mays?
Yeah,
Herman Mays. Where can I mean, is he pretty common? Is it a common thing to see him on the internet, or was that just kind of a?
I don't think so. I've tried, and not many videos with him.
I guess I'll have to look, do a little Googling and see if I can find him, or maybe read a publication of his or something. But he did a really cool job of essentially doing what Dr. Dan does is expose.
Right. Well, he also debated
Darwin as an idiot book.
Wow. Why is that debate on Answers to Genesis?
Oh,
that's I thought it was on the great. Right. I thought it was on the great debate community or whatever. Was it Herman Mays? Nathaniel Jensen? I'm trying to think of what it was.
I thought
I'm
it was
pretty sure
non-sequitur.
that. Yeah, and well, is that channel taken down? Because it doesn't find that video anymore. I think there's a copy of it on Answers in Genesis. I almost hate to link that
Yeah, you don't have to worry about doing that.
because we got the Answers in Atheism, not Genesis.
That's right. There's no answers in Genesis.
There's no Answers in Genesis. Yeah. So if you listen to Sal Cordova's streams, I think he says it about 10 times a stream. He says there are no answers in atheism. I think he's irritated with my channel name.
Oh, I told him that I don't disagree with that. It's because atheism doesn't.
Yeah, I heard you say. Yeah, I heard you say that.
Yeah,
But I do like the name of your channel here, so don't worry.
Yeah,
Randolph, he looks at that as kind of a gotcha. He thinks that you gave them the biggest gotcha when you said, that there are no answers in atheism. It was in a side chat somewhere.
Yeah, I remember.
I saw you say that, Randolph, and I saw that side chat, and I put together this like 5-page email. I was going to fire it off to you and just really complain. And then I called my sponsor, and he said to delete it. So I never sent it to you. So, anyway.
I'll take feedback from anyone, man. It's okay. It's just
So
Sal likes to quote me on that, and I thank Sal for quoting me on that. So he's welcome to quote me as much as he wants. So the more they talk about atheism, it's just free advertising for the entire demographic.
Right. There you go.
That's all of us.
Yep.
As well.
And
We're included in that demographic.
They do have a problem with atheists. Well, they have a problem with everybody. Old Earth creationists, and now they have a problem with Swamidas.
By the way, I have 5 minutes. I got my kids somewhere, so I'm going to be logging out here fairly soon. But
yeah, we're going to be shooting in the head pretty soon too.
I didn't mean to trigger your. Yeah, you're shooting it. I didn't mean to trigger you shooting it in the head.
Nope, it's because of you, Randolph. We're shooting.
That's right. We're holding you. We're holding you ransom. If you don't stay, we're going to shoot this thing in the head.
We're going to shoot this.
Oh no! I'll just leave my computer running then.
Daniel is still here, and he's going on about abiogenesis. We'd love to have him come in, right? You've had some conversations with him the past few days, Andrew, right? In the side chat.
Yeah, I did once. Yeah.
Yeah. Yesterday, you guys were.
He seems to have equated abiogenesis and evolution with naturalism and science and all that. He just bring them all together, which doesn't make any sense.
Yep.
Buzzwords in a blender.
We've been trying to invite him in, but he doesn't seem
that is a good phrase. Buzzwords in a blender. I like it.
There you go. You're free to use it. No charge.
Free to use it. Okay, I'll write it down on my notepad here.
I did point out to him that some scientists are religious, therefore they're not philosophical naturalists by definition.
That's true.
But he never
That's such
got
a good
back
point,
to me.
Andrew. I've never thought of it that succinctly. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm glad I can help.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I saw you ask him
Your
that
mind's
question.
blown, so I'm going to hit mute and just sit.
Yeah, I saw you ask him that question. He never answered it yesterday.
Scott is muted. I don't know why. Right in the middle of a sentence, he muted himself. Anyway, I think we should shoot this in the head today. What do you think?
I guess.
I don't know.
If you want to, I mean, this is the equivalent to me of going to the general store, sitting on the porch, and spitting in the spittoon and whittling. So
I think a lot of people feel that way, and
and I wonder how many people know what I mean by general store.
None of the assholes are subscribing to my channel because I haven't grown like by one subscriber in the last 2 months.
Oh.
And I need to get over 1,000 so I can have my own community meme page so I can communicate with John Maddox's memes. I mean, I want to do Maddox's parody memes.
Yeah.
Was it Brendan's channel that had a poll? No, it might have been Prophet of Zod. He had a release today. It was a premiere, and as soon as the side chat opened, a poll popped up over the side chat, and you just take the poll, and then it kind of went up to the top as a kind of a collapsed pinned message.
Yep.
Is that a 1,000 subscriber feature or what? I've not seen that.
Probably. I don't know. I pay these
I've seen that in a
assholes.
few channels. Sorry, go ahead.
I pay these assholes every month. I don't know why they got to mess with me like this, but I can't have a community page until I get over 1K subscribers. So I don't know.
Guys,
Here's a
Jason,
suggestion
maybe
from Jason.
Jason?
Yeah, look at
hosted a video. Oh, yes, let's do that.
Okay, this sounds good.
Yes.
Thank you.
How about
Jason,
Daniel
that's very
Bennett?
generous of you. Thank you.
Daniel Bennett.
Daniel Bennett, do you want to get in a debate with Jason Torn, who is a fine, upstanding individual? He keeps calm in very frustrating situations. I think y'all will have a great dialogue.
Let me know if I can help. Okay, Speed.
Yeah. You.
I'll definitely promote it all over the place and all over Discord and Twitter and everything for you.
Cool. That would be great. I'll try to find a yuck for you, other than Otangelo.
So
Yeah,
Jason,
that might even work.
I did watch Jason's discussion, quote unquote, with Otangelo, and I liked what he was saying.
Be careful.
See you, Randolph.
Bye.
See you, Randolph.
Bye, Randolph.
Thanks.
Bye, Randolph.
Good to see you all again.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
And I agree with some of what he said, but some other things he said I feel like he could have touched on a little bit better, in my naive opinion. So I don't know if you would want to come in and talk about it, maybe.
Yeah.
Which one, Daniel? Or
No, Jason.
oh, Jason. Okay. Yeah, it sounds like Daniel is running away from a debate with.
Yeah. I noticed
yeah.
the trend. We invited him to come in and talk about the paper. He was nowhere to be seen for a while. Then he comes back, and now we're offering him a chance to debate the upstanding Mr. Jason Torn, and now he's minimizing that idea.
Why is it that people who don't have a lot of knowledge always say that other people are overestimating their knowledge?
Yep.
Yeah.
Come on and show us your knowledge. I mean, we're dying to have you on.
Yeah.
Jason is in the back. Hey! I was doing that. Hey, Jason.
Hey, Jason.
Damn it! Making Jason dizzy.
How are you doing today?
I can hear you just fine.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't mean to come at the end of your stream. So, but you know, but I'm happy to debate whoever on the young Earth creationism topic. I don't know who this Daniel Bennett guy is. So.
Yeah.
Well,
he's been in chat a lot, and he's been quite vocal about everything. So he's definitely a yak. But I will try to find somebody.
Yeah,
it would be.
I'd prefer somebody that's like in the I'm a geoscientist, so I'd rather stick with those topics. But whatever, man, that's fine.
I'll muck around.
Yeah.
Who's that guy that Orge did a kind of a video just in the last couple of days about one of the SFT geologist dudes and his claims about limestone, yeah, and how it forms, and I wonder if you could get one of those type of people. Am I getting your specialty right? You said geoscience.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, certainly like carbonate geology. I'm fine talking about that.
That would be such a good topic.
Do you know anything about quartz deposition and crystals and geodes and the rate of deposition of silicon dioxide?
I mean, I don't know anything specifically about that, but I mean, I do have a background in sedimentology and surficial processes and geomorphology. So just like sedimentary structures and sedimentary processes, I'm pretty knowledgeable about.
Could we do? I'd love to do a stream on that. That would be very interesting.
Yeah, because I mean that's an interesting topic, particularly around that young Earth creationism, Noah's Ark topic. because I think a lot of the arguments around what's called stratigraphic superposition or sedimentary structures refute a lot of like the flood geology topics.
I know.
Yeah.
Hey, you know who would be a great person? Is that, what's the guy's name? George Bond? Is that his name? He's on
Bond.
Nephilim Freeze.
George Bond.
I think I would love to see you debate him, but I don't think does debates. I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Oh, he's really big on geology.
Right. I know. That's
Yeah.
why I would. That he would be a perfect candidate for you.
I
But
wonder
don't
if I
know
have
we
his
could ever get
email.
him to do it.
Yeah. So I just
Sorry.
I just cleaned a quartz crystal with hydrochloric acid and it turned green.
Ooh.
Maybe you shouldn't have done that.
I know. But I clean everything with hydrochloric acid, so anyway. But
Danny,
I'm kind of
we were asking earlier, Danny, what's living conditions like in Baton Rouge these days?
yes.
Yeah. How you doing down
About 50-60% of the city does not have power. We got grazed by it. New Orleans has no power. Hammond, which is close to east of Baton Rouge, has no power. But it was a pretty nasty storm. I'm very lucky. I'm one of the few that have power and internet. I just basically get a week off from work, and though I went to Walmart, there was nothing in the frozen section. Nothing. There's also a lot of issues with gasoline. I can't get gasoline right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah,
go ahead.
I saw a car line in I think it was New Orleans that was like 2 miles long or something like that for gas because they're filling up their generators.
Yeah, I had my generator for a night, and I filled up my generator, and I filled up my cars too. So I'm good, but that's going to be a struggle for New Orleans more than Baton Rouge because Baton Rouge, like I said, got grazed, and we're better off. We're more inland. We're about an hour away from New Orleans, and New Orleans always gets it worse than us because they're closer to the coast.
Yep. What in the hell?
Hey, were you gonna ask something, Andrew?
Oh, and a couple of people died of generators. I think 26 people are in the hospital right now because of generators.
Oh,
So
no.
Carbon monoxide?
Yep.
Yeah.
Or not having a generator?
No. They run them in their garage.
Yeah.
and
Uh,
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah. Yeah. I saw that with I forget what one of the other hurricanes in Houston. It was like the same thing.
Harvey?
It might have been, but I was fascinated by that because one of the things I'm really interested in is climate change and health. Like, what are the varying effects of health with a changing climate? And when you have onset of more and more issues where electricity goes out, that the implication is things like that happen. I mean, I know that's a minimal effect, but it's just interesting that you brought that up because I noticed that same thing in one of these other hurricanes.
Yeah, it's a big problem. People die. My dad is an ER doc, and every hurricane, he gets someone in the ER with generator carbon monoxide poisoning.
Yeah. Gotta be careful. Carbon monoxide detectors are good things.
Yeah, I think I'm going to get one. I was paranoid the entire time I was using it.
I've got one at the exact level of my head, right next to my bed. So I know. Minnesota also has a lot of carbon monoxide deaths because of the heat.
Why is that?
Furnaces, if you don't maintain them, you'll end up with carbon monoxide, and it hangs. I think it goes to the lower level and stuff, and that's where I am. Hence, I have carbon monoxide detectors. But
it's more dense than everything else.
I think so.
That's weird.
There used to be a big push a while back about getting was it radon detectors?
Oh yeah.
But I don't hear about that much anymore.
Yeah, I'm down on the bid. Well, it's still a thing. I think you do it when you sell a house. You have to do a radon check or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I've lived in my son's always put me in the basement in every place we've ever had. I would go to the bottom, and I think they're trying to kill me with
Wait,
radar.
actually, that doesn't really make sense. Can someone explain that to me? The carbon dioxide that goes in the atmosphere, but why does carbon monoxide go down? If it's one,
Carbon dioxide is heavier too. If you put carbon dioxide in like a petri dish or not a petri dish, a flask, it will stay in the dish. It's heavier, it's denser, but there's a lot of mixing that goes on in the atmosphere, so it manages to keep everything, because it's very easy to mix it up as long as you got wind and mixing. Jason, you should be talking about this, not me. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
What was it, the amounts of carbon monoxide versus carbon dioxide in the atmosphere?
Well, I was wondering because he was saying that for carbon monoxide concerns, you want to consider the lower levels because it sinks, he's saying. But as one less oxygen, you would think that it would, given that I thought that carbon dioxide goes to the atmosphere, that carbon monoxide would also go up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the distribution of it, there is some heterogeneity with that in the atmosphere, but carbon monoxide is pretty minimal in the atmosphere as compared to carbon dioxide. One of the other things I recently heard somebody talking about was, this is kind of a separate topic, but the issues of COVID, and people were saying that when they wear the masks, they get carbon monoxide poisoning. Which is really kind of funny because I think your body gives off a very, very, very slight amount of carbon monoxide, but most of it's carbon dioxide.
Hey, Danny, I'm wrong. It's slightly lighter than air. So it tends to accumulate about 5 feet above the floor, which is usually where we are. And,
Oh, I see. It's not like it's dangerous because it's like right at eye level.
Yeah.
Okay. So I see.
Yeah, but in the atmosphere.
Good evening.
Hey, midnight.
Good evening. In the atmosphere, we're going to have a hell of a lot of mixing. I mean, it's a very dynamic environment. Carbon dioxide, I believe, is heavier than air, though. I have to check on it.
Yeah.
With carbon monoxide, if it got released into the atmosphere, wouldn't it just bond with the oxygen in the atmosphere? I mean, isn't it like really out?
Reactive? Is it reactive?
I don't think it is.
It's not gonna. Yeah, it's not gonna bond in that respect. It'd have to go through some chemical process for that to happen. It's not. It can happen, but it just doesn't typically happen in our atmosphere.
Because I thought like carbon monoxide, when it got into your system, it like did something to your hemoglobin, but because it carries.
Does it bind to the iron? Does it bind?
It binds. It binds to the hemoglobin so that there's no exchange anymore, and it sort of locks up your hemoglobin. I think, at least that was how I always understood it. But carbon dioxide is heavier. So let me see here. I got a little short Google blurb on it.
I had a chemistry professor back in the early 80s that swore up and down that what are they called? Fluorocarbons, that went up into the atmosphere would not create a hole in the ozone because it's heavier than the atmosphere, and it would just stay on the ground.
Yeah.
But then again, the holes in the ozone went away after we changed what went into aerosols, right? Or is that still a problem we just don't talk about? That's a question for Jason.
It's still a problem. Yeah, okay. It's definitely still a problem.
Great.
I mean, the issue of the ozone and O3, and that is certainly a problem with CFCs, but the greater problem really is carbon dioxide or methane or other molecules that happen to be what's called the atmospheric window, where they absorb what's called long wave radiation. So if you think about it, like the sun blasts energy on our planet, that's short wave radiation. The wavelength's really short. It penetrates our atmosphere, and when it gets absorbed, like by the Earth absorbs it and then re-radiates the heat, and that becomes long wave radiation. That radiation happens to be at the wavelength that things like carbon dioxide, methane are at, and that's why we get the trapping of that that heat, that energy. And then when we add more of those types of molecules to the atmosphere, we inevitably trap that long wave radiation, and that creates this feedback where it's the energy balance of the planet gets a little bit out of whack. And as we do that over time, we slowly increase the heat of the planet. That's the short, long of it. Or,
Jason, you should probably think about starting like a YouTube channel.
I should talk more about climate.
Science. Yeah. Back in a second.
So I guess I kind of had just a quick random question for Jason, if that's okay.
Sure. I don't know if I can answer, but go. Yep.
So does your background happen to include anything on plate tectonics?
I mean, I have a master's in geology in the geological sciences. I mean, I have focused more in the last 10 years on atmospheric systems and climatology and data science, but I have a master's in geology, so I don't know if you have a question about it. If you want to,
yeah, I guess
if I can't answer it, I'll just tell you. So
okay, or I guess my question is, because I've heard that there are mechanisms in plate tectonics related to slab dynamics and how gravity pulls on very cold, dense plates as they subduct under others. And I was wondering if that's different or if that's part of the process of mantle convection.
I mean, I don't know anything about like gravitational effects on that. I mean, I guess there would be. I would imagine it would be very minor. Given that the differences that gravitational effect is, that it's equal, across the planet. The gravity is the same everywhere. That it's pulling on components, plates at the same rate. I mean, I guess if there was a weakness where one plate, like you have a subduction zone, and one plate is slipping under another. I would imagine.
I think Daniel Bennett is mistaken. Like what?
Yeah, come in and tell us about Noah, Daniel.
Yeah,
we would love to have you in.
Geology proves Noah's flood.
Yeah,
I've mentioned this before on another stream, but maybe I mentioned here that I got this book by David Montgomery, who's at University of Washington. I've talked to Speed about it, but he is great on this topic of Noah's flood, and he's a geologist. If Daniel Bennett, if you're really interested, Google David Montgomery. He's actually got a talk that he gave at Harvard specifically about this topic, and I think it's fascinating. So I would suggest you check that out.
Do you remember the name of the book?
Yeah, it's called The Rocks Don't Lie.
Oh, yeah, I have. Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
But it has some. It's very focused on Noah's flood, and one of the things that he talks a lot about is the intersection of religion in science, like how scientists used to be, like how most scientists that were geologists were very religious, like Steno, who was a Catholic priest, but he was a geologist, and then his theories led to Hutton's theories of uniformitarianism and geologic time, and how it really refutes a possibility of a 6,000-year-old Earth. So it's a really good book, and he's a good researcher. Anyways, but the question that Andrew was asking, I don't know if I answered it effectively. I don't really. My perspective would be that there would be other stressors that would have a greater effect on those plates subducting than gravity, but there might be some research that contradicts what I'm saying. I don't know.
Yeah, or I think there's some recent research on that, but yeah, I'll have to look into it more.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
The advantage of scientific consensus, there's always somebody working on another idea that may change our perspectives on how we think about science. So
I got an article here on BioLogos about a young Earth creationist who got into science and started digging deeper, and and I haven't read the whole thing, but I'll link it in the chat. But I think it's pertinent to what you were talking about. Basically, he sees no conflict anymore, or decides that, what the hell does he say here? If Genesis, he's talking about the things that he went through because he was brought up young Earth, and he had to go through this entire paradigm change because of it. If you're brought up young Earth, and you start running into real science, you're going to have this horrible paradigm shift, or have to, in order to, you're going to have to change a bit of your mind about the interpretation of the Bible, I think, is what they do.
Yeah, I mean, like the whole facet of uniformitarianism, and how geologic layers are laid down, and the aspects of uniformitarianism combined with structural upheavals, faults, things of that nature. So when we look at a set of rock layers and we see, features that have taken a long time to be laid down are turned on their side, and then another layer where we have to have a long period of time to lay those layers down, and then another layer of them in the opposite directions. All of that just results in there's so much time that there could not be all formed in Noah's flood or in 6,000 years. It's just not biochemically or chemically possible. There are other things with Noah's flood that is very contradictory also, like the aspect of extinctions, looking at the woolly mammoths, why weren't there any woolly mammoths on the ark? I mean, the assumption is that you have to admit that there were extinction events before Noah's Ark that had to eliminate certain animals.
The way I responded to that when it was that the utter sin and depravity of man prior to the flood led to a lot of extinction of animals, just like today or something like that.
You know what is never talked about is wasn't it back in the 80s or 90s? A shipbuilder tried to build a ship the size of Noah's Ark, right? They tried to build it 540 feet long.
Oh, they couldn't.
And it wasn't capable. It wasn't seaworthy, right? You had anything over 300 and something feet has to have structural steel in it. Otherwise, the boat twists and warps too much, and it leaks, and it'll sink, right? And a guy did that, but the best wooden shipbuilder on the planet tried to build a ship that big, I think in the 80s or 90s, wasn't it? And it proved it couldn't be done. You can't build a wooden ship that big.
Yeah, there's some research on this.
Yeah.
That's they talked about the shipbuilders of I forget the 17 or 1800s, and that they with the technology had at that time, they tried to build a ship that was not even close to the size of Noah's ship,
right.
And they couldn't do it. There were structural problems, and they had greater knowledge than the folks at that time. Yeah.
I think what it is, anything over 300 and something feet, you have to have structural steel in it. Otherwise, it can't be all wooden. Otherwise, it'll twist and then it leaks. You can't stop it from leaking. So that's what it is. Yeah.
Okay, so Daniel Bennett had us Google this. I think so. Did I get it right, Daniel? Is this the article you're talking about? First geological evidence for China's Great Flood? I think they're talking about a flood in China or something. I don't know. Has anybody seen this article? Or it's linked in the description, so you can look at it.
I mean, there's no question that there have been regional floods.
Yeah.
Across the planet. And actually, there's what's called, I think it's called the Great Deluge, the flood that occurred regionally that was associated with the Black Sea. And many researchers think that what's attributed to Noah's flood is actually that flood that was a catastrophic flood, but it was regionalized. So there's no doubt that geologists acknowledge that there have been catastrophic regional flood events throughout history. It's just that they didn't all occur. They didn't occur globally, and it has conflicts with a 6,000-year-old Earth.
Yeah, there was a great flood in Evelyn, Minnesota in 1986. I don't know if you guys remember that, but it was biblical. Yeah, absolutely biblical.
Hey,
Yes.
I am sorry, guys. I gotta go pick up my kid, but I just wanted to jump on real quick to say
We got to shoot it in the head.
Okay, all right. Hey, Daniel
Okay.
Bennett, email me if you want to, man. I'm happy to talk with you. I'll be polite.
Yep.
So,
See you
We got to
guys.
shoot it in the head because midnight showed up, so we gotta end the stream now.
all right.
Yeah, anyway,
See you later, Jason. Thanks.
later, guys. We're gonna kill this thing. Everybody
Okay.
agree? Any of the conscientious
Yep.
objectors? No.
Nope.
I don't give a shit.
I was just trying to look up the Noah's Ark, see if that guy
Yeah.
built it. I was trying to look that up. I was trying to find it.
Oh, we could put a link if we can put a link after the fact. But anyway, okay, we're gonna end. Goodbye, cruel world.
Bye.